Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 432. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm one of your hosts from Todd Oxtra. The drought has ended. The Swissies have left Minnesota. And joined by Charlie Carden.
I don't know what any of that means. Oh, the Swifties. Okay, I'm like, who's the Swissies? That you were invaded by the Swiss?
Yes, the Swiss selling the Swatch watches.
They're fine timepieces and luggage.
Swiss shoes.
Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous dunculous. No, it's Sunday, regular old Sunday, laundry, podcasting. It's supposed to be thunderstorming all day. Good day to be inside and talking about geek stuff. So yeah,
we're here. It's here. Show. We're still mourning the loss of Flash's box office. We're gonna have a fun Thunderdome topic where we explain a very odd anime title to you and give our own definition. But before we do that, we're gonna say thank you to our Patreon Super Secret Friends Squad, Best Buds, Jamie Prinky, BFFs, Sean, Stella, Henry Nias, Missy Merchant, and Andy Milken. And Charlie, if people aren't sure about joining Patreon, what do we have for them?
Oh my goodness. It's easy to be on the fence because in the background noise of everyday life, there's a lot of stuff. But if you go to patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite, you can snag any one of our tiers and try it for free for a week. So go in there, jump in, check out shows like the Spinner Rack that Todd and I do together, where we tackle a comic series or a series of issues. You can check out my series, The Facts of Geek Life, where myself and a guest or two talk about a few episodes of a classic television genre series, or sometimes non-genre. My wife April and I every quarter do a great bad trip to the movies, where Todd was recently our guest, where we talked about the 1999 classic Wing Commander that just dropped the other day. And my partners Kay and Missy have brought an amazing series of interviews with folks like Doug Jones and some John Billingsley and some other really exciting ones that are coming up. So yeah, that's awesome. Grab it for a week, sample it out, and if you want to stick around, we'd love to have you do that. So give it a try over at patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. Sweet. Okay, plugging's over for now, but moving along, Todd, this is from the year of your birth. I think last month was from the year of my birth, but Astonishing Tales from Marvel, cover price of 25 cents from November of 1975. This is issue 32. And I wonder if this is, I'm not sure if this is an introduction, but we're talking about Deathlock, the Demolisher, which is not an extra bit I've ever heard attached to him. But in a clear New York City classic, he is dealing with slaughter in the subway. Okay, so is he the source of the slaughter in the subway, or is he simply taking part? But yeah, slaughter in the subway, a cyborg alone against cannibal hordes. I know New York City was tough in the 70s, but damn, they were chuds even back then.
Chuds, Morlocks, the subways. Charlie, the scent is not urine. It's basically cannibal mutants. They're musk.
The dank, the mange. Oh exactly. My goodness. Yeah, but this looks great. I don't think we have an artist on this one, but
we do. We do. It was Rich Buckler. Yes.
Bucklener. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So yeah, Deathlock is a character which was portrayed by, what's the dude's name? August Richards in the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Was also debuted in Angel. He was a character on Angel as well.
There you go. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. A show that my wife loved that Todd was not fond of. You know what? I don't blame you. By the end of it, it was proved that it wasn't taking place in the MCU. It was totally separate. So it was just like, where in the beginning they were working really hard to be like, oh man, Iron Man was just here, or blah, blah, blah. We're going, it's after Thor the Dark World, they went to clean up London, and it was a storyline. But by the end of it, they were like, we're doing our own thing. We don't care. And nobody else did. It was
the Marvel experimentation on ABC. Complete failure. I mean, you've got S.H.I.E.L.D. and Eternals. Yeah. I mean, come on. Let's.
No, not you're thinking of Inhumans.
Inhumans. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Wow. Not a good mix of no. What was it? Desperate Housewives and You think you can dance, or the dance show?
God.
Dancing with Stars? Yeah.
You can't dance. Baby can't dance.
Yeah, dancing with the Shield agents might have been more entertaining, or dancing with the mutants, maybe. Or
they didn't.
Would have been better.
They didn't have the mutants at that point. Everything
No,
was
no.
Inhumans. But
Yeah, so just some fun facts about Deathlock. His first appearance was in Astonishing Tales number 25. So essentially became his book for some time.
Gotcha.
Astonishing Tales also debuted other characters. Once again, we're hitting in all of these like weird Marvel
so niche-y, big time.
anthology books, which was just, hey, we're going to introduce Marvel's newest character. Some would stick, some wouldn't.
Right.
And one quick question about Deathlock, Charlie, is if there are cannibals, how much of him can they eat? And he still operates.
That's rough, because if you look at him, the only skin that you see is like his neck and like 2/3 of his face. But even that looks like kind of decrepit flesh. So
it's not going well.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, what bit of a morsel he'd really be. So, yeah.
I mean, he's essentially the first. I mean, he must have been the inspiration for like RoboCop, because RoboCop's the same way. He's what, just skin on a face?
Well, yeah, and he is. RoboCop is 100% dead, and they saved his face skin, and so he looks like Peter Weller. But other than that, he's total robot.
Yeah, his brain's on a zip drive. Hopefully, those don't go out of fashion. Yeah,
those discs like we saw in Wing Commander. But anyway, someone whose brain should be committed to a drive, so that we don't lose all the richness of her experiences and skills, would be our senior news correspondent, Madam Webb. She is always bringing us the hottest stories, the latest scoops. Down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, I think we need to hop on the subway train, avoid the cannibals, and get down there for the rumors and news with Madam Webb. So let's do it.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Well, Madam Webb, we were just talking about the mutants and Chud in the subways. Charlie, did you know that Madam Webb is one of the few people that actually rented out the famous or infamous subway motel? It didn't stay open very long because of the dank, the rats, the mutants, the Chud, and the beautiful musk of it all. She asked if she could take it over and run it kind of like a Schitt's Creek, but did not work out. So
it was more shits and less creek.
Yeah, a future VRBO opportunity, maybe, if someone can reopen that.
My goodness. Well, speaking of something that I just get the feeling is not going to end up being a great opportunity, would be the trailer for the Kraven the Hunter film from the Spumco, that is the Spider-Man cinematic universe, or just Spum. Did we just throw the
characters?
Yeah. Oh, Sony characters. There we go. So, yeah, we all know that there's a somewhat famous relationship ongoing with Disney owning the vast majority of all Marvel rights, with the exception of Spider-Man, which they sold off back in the 90s when they were going bankrupt, and is now squarely
Toy Biz.
Yeah, exactly. Squarely resting on the shoulders of Sony, and Spider-Man is their cash cow. And so now, with the 600 something licensed Spider-Man characters that they're trying to exploit, they're going through and making supervillain films of Spider-Man's rogues gallery that don't involve Spider-Man, and none of them have been good, because we got Venoms 1 and 2 and Morbius, and they just keep getting worse. In my humble opinion, if you're a lover of one of those films, please, as always, at Secret Friends U or at the C3 on Twitter, tell me how you feel. But Todd, where did you land with this trailer? It was the red band. We both watched the red band. I don't know if there's a green band, but the red band is the one that came up on our radar.
Yeah, so essentially Red Band, for anybody who doesn't know this, it's the rating of the trailer essentially for more mature audiences. Right. You typically see it with like raunchy comedies and things like that. Right. But this one was kind of unexpected, because I think almost all of the Sony produced movies were PG-13 live action. Right. Yeah. This one, they're fully going R with Kraven. This movie looks to be taking Kraven, who is the son of Russell Crowe, who is a bad dad,
not a great guy, bad role model.
Yes, and he has a very and his name is Sergei. No, I'm trying to think. What is Russell Crowe's name?
Well, Sergei Kravinoff is the maybe he's
Craven, yes.
senior. Maybe he's senior. And do keep in mind that in the comics, the brother of Craven is the Chameleon. So
he does have a brother in this movie, Dmitry Smederevkov, played by Fred Heckinger. So we don't know Russell Crowe's name, but he's a bad dad. He's like a hunter.
Craven Senior.
And he apparently runs like a criminal network in Eastern Europe, whatever. Unfortunately, though, Aaron Taylor Johnson is going to be Craven in this, as we know. Doesn't have the really awesome accent, which I think is just what. That's like step one. Craven, have a really bad like Eurotrash accent.
Yeah,
not having that. What are you doing?
I mean, those characters are from Russia, or they're supposed to be, but this could be another case of like in Top Gun Maverick, which was otherwise a absolutely fantastic film. We had an enemy country that went unnamed. So is this some kind of like, well, we don't want to alienate audiences in Russia? I don't know. Are Russian audiences a big?
What are they going to do? Invade us? Oh wait.
Yeah. Oh wait. Well, let's not go down that road. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, yeah, exactly. So
I mean, I don't know what the point of this movie truly is. It looks like that he decides to be a anti-hero to fight off his dad, who just wants to do bad things. And he is very brutal in his ways of basically taking care of business, stabbing people in the throat, biting off noses.
Right. Who needs noses? Yeah. So there's a lot of very Tarantino-esque blood splattering in this trailer. And it looks like they're going to slide in Calypso, which is someone who is frequently a muse to Craven. Later on in the books, it says here, a voodoo practitioner, Calypso, Ariana Dubois.
Who was in West Side Story. I mean,
gotcha.
The lead.
Gotcha. And right as we wrap up, we do see a very hairy inference to hairy imprint to classic Spider-Man villain, the Rhino, who we last saw portrayed by
Paul
there you go. Paul Giamatti at the end of the Andy Garfield Spider-Man 2. Yep, Russian tracksuit. So we're getting this on October 6th, so it's during spooky time. The only thing spooky about this is that Todd and I will likely have to watch it because we have to tell you about it, and I'm really not looking forward to it.
I used to have some semblance of like faith in Sony live action. I mean, I thought the first Venom was meant to be like a dumb B movie. Like they were all in on the joke. And I realized, nope, they obviously, or they think we're all dumb. And they're just like, hey, we're going to make the dumbest thing in the world. Enjoy and give us money, please. Which people did give them money, please, but not for Morbius. So there's going to be a point, Charlie, where it's like, they're going to find out their live action stuff is just not working.
Right.
But if they get another hit on their hand, they're going to keep doing this.
Right.
Like
exactly.
If Madam Web works. Or the Black Cat and Silver Sable movie, or whatever else. Or
if those are happening,
who's left? Oh! Wait, I know what's not left. That takes us to the next story.
They have 600 options of characters, so next you'll get they could cast that time in the 90s where Spider-Man adopted 4 different simultaneous identities. They could take those guys, the slingers, exactly. So look, but again. We have no update on the WGA strike, so really there's nothing even being brainstormed right now. So anything that's going to be coming out in 2024 at this point is pretty much in the can. So October 6th for this one, and we will doubtlessly make reference to it at that time, whether we like it or not. So, okay, let's move on. We're still talking about Sony, but Todd, I don't know anything about this one, so why don't you take it?
This was mentioned. We talked about this probably about a year ago. Bad Bunny has been basically going to be cast in a spin-off Spider-Man movie, once again, starring El Muerto, a character that I think is fairly new, like only like a couple years old, and barely has been in anything. And they were talking about this movie was supposed to have been planned for this year. Now it's been moved out. So because of that, we don't know why specifically. They say it's his schedule, but Bad Bunny is like the biggest thing in Latinx rap. He's a superstar. He's big in WWE. He's kind of being like a crossover star, and he's well loved. And
Honestly, I honestly don't know anything about him.
If you know him, he was in Bullet Train. He was the guy in the white suit.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he's not bad. I mean, he's got a presence, and he can at least portray and do things like that. But apparently, this movie was it was supposed to hit theaters January 12th, 2024. Now it's being pushed off, and we don't really know. This is on essentially indefinite hold. If this was supposed to be out in January 12th, 2024, this means they haven't probably filmed a damn thing, written a thing for it.
And they're out of luck. Yeah.
But to say it's off the schedule indefinitely, especially as we're coming up to movies where, because of the strike, there's going to be a lack of things. So this would be perfect filler. And this is just not happening, it sounds like. So I don't know if this is more to do with this project just is it going to be a no-go. It's going to be like somebody will bring it up every once in a while, but it just goes away silently like a silent fart. But not a stinky one. So this might be good news that this is not happening.
I can imagine. So yeah, everything is such a quagmire right now. And with, remember our last WGA strike ended after 3 months, and we are 6 weeks into this one, 2 months into this one. Let's hope that, I would certainly love to get Colbert and Seth Meyers back, because those are ones that I enjoyed. But how deeply
they're not going to stand up?
Yeah, how deeply do the powers that be want to dig their heels in on this one, that they're not giving these folks what they need? So, as always, we do stand in solidarity with those good folks. I hope things improve. But what do we got next? So you're talking about my boy Jack Quaid, Mr. Boiler. Yeah.
And let me do a little bit of editing while we're talking. I will actually put a link to an article that actually explains the trailer.
Yeah.
So
I didn't want to click on the trailer and have it be like, So what's going on?
We are getting a new animated Superman series called My Adventures with Superman. It's starring Jack Quaid as the voice of Clark Kent and also Superman. I'm not sure if he's going to do something with his voice to differentiate two, but this is coming to Adult Swim, which Adult Swim typically means they can do a little more adult things with it. We get like Rick and Morty and those type of shows, Squidbillies, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And it's essentially, it's going to be Superman's narrative conflict will be, why is he even here? Why is someone this powerful bothering with our pitiful troubles? It's essentially, what is the play going to be with Superman? And it's essentially going to be his life and just doing adventures. We don't always get that with Superman. It's always like, oh, Superman's dead or he's turned into a bad guy. This is just going to be adventures with Superman, like it says, his cast of characters, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and we're going to probably hear by Caesar's Ghost, Great Caesar's Ghost, I think is what Perry used to always say.
That's the one. I love it.
Yeah.
Good deal. So, now where do we mere mortals watch Adult Swim programming?
Well, that's good. If you're an owner of Max, the one to watch for HBO, they get all of this content because it's Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. So this will be on Max eventually. I don't know if it's like day and date or Max. Oh, that's right. It's day later. So July 6th on Adult Swim, July 7th on Max. And this looks like it's going to be just fun. So if you just want a pure like Superman fighting villains, having fun with Lois, having adventures in an animated form, we're getting this, which is kind of fun.
Right after the 4th of July. So that is awesome. Good deal. All right. What else we got going on here? Oh my God. Are you serious? So you just dropped this here. So a strangely, oh boy, God, I don't see this photograph. A strangely smooth-faced Zach Galifianakis raves about Beanie Babies in the Beanie Bubble. Holy crap, they sneak in some weird stuff here. So, Todd, there are famous stories from the 1990s about the much like the inflation of the speculative market of Image Comics and comics. Now I'm going to send my kids to college, or this is my retirement fund.
That's a Superman. Back away 18 copies. Yes.
Yeah. Beanie Babies, which are essentially just precursors to the plushies that kids love these days, was such a phenomenon in the 1990s that there is a very famous photograph. It's one of those, photos you'll never believe from the past, 50 years of a couple going through a divorce in court, sitting on the floor in a courtroom, divvying up a pile of Beanie Babies. And this was a photograph from the late 1990s because it was that big of a deal. It was, we're dividing our assets. I wonder how people would feel about that now. So, the Beanie Bubble, which is coming to, where's this coming
Apple
to?
TV Plus.
Oh, Apple TV Plus. We just, we shut ours down for now because we were watching, Ted Lasso ended and I think Platonic is ending. So, but I'm sure we'll go back to it. $5 a month. I mean, come on. It's a bargain. So, yeah. Co-directed by Futurama writer and Al Gore's daughter, Kristen Gore, and her husband, OK Go frontman Damian Kulash. So that's quite a pair.
That's a weird. I would have never picked those two things. She was a writer for Futurama, and she married the guy from OK Go. And if you know OK Go, they make those awesome like tandem videos where they're like riding on. They're great. They're a great band. They're fun. Right. Yes.
Also Elizabeth Banks and a couple of other notable names are involved. And we get this
Snook
at the end
from Succession.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. So we're getting this at the end of July. Great. So I'll have to sign back up for July because this sounds crazy. So Beanie Babies, the stuffed toy sensation of the 90s, with a very unrecognizable Zach Galifianakis playing creator Ty Warner, and Ty wasn't Ty the name of the company. He just named it after himself.
Yeah, Ty.
Gotcha. They're actually understuffed so they can be posed more optimally. So that is this is fantastic. The trailer has bombastic business pitches, salary discrepancy, and affairs. The one thing lacking is the Beanie Babies themselves. Really? So this is a whole show.
They aren't able to use the actual. I'm guessing because of the people involved. I don't know, copyright issues. Very weird. But it's just really representative of what they were. But this goes back to our friend Erica Wesley, who is now Erica Kretschmann. Married. She's actually a doctor in working on diabetes cures. She's very successful. So
that's fantastic.
She's done great. We always have this joke going because her mom was obsessed with Beanie Babies. They had the Beanie Babies at McDonald's, and we were joking about it. And I always bring up, anytime I see Beanie Babies, I always tag her on Facebook and said, "Hey, Erica, look at this," and she just loves it. My ongoing joke is all of the beans in the Beanie Babies are actually spider eggs, and they're all meant to hatch like 20 years later, like those moths that are in the ground. So check your Beanie Babies.
Yes,
if you burn them with fire.
If you got a bug issue, set those suckers on fire. All right.
And we actually own a couple because someone gave them a Beanie Baby marriage couple as a wedding gift to Chris and I. I'm like, okay, it's like, is this like somebody giving us precious moments? We're not starting a collection. Thank you, folks.
It was probably Erica's mom.
It might have been Erica doing it as a joke. Here you go.
Oh my gosh. I don't know, but you know what? You'll treasure it forever. Okay. Well, we've had some fun, but now we're getting to the nitty gritty of something that is not fun. And again, you're right. I subbed in your article for this one because in the last 24 hours, I've had my 15 minutes of fame on Twitter because I reshared a meme about this that has turned around and been reshared like 200 times. Little old me, and I only have like 475 followers on Twitter, but the phenomenal Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus animated Star Trek show, Star Trek Prodigy, has been canceled, even with its season 2 being completed. And if that wasn't bad enough, season 2 potentially being shopped around to other networks, season 1 is being yanked from Paramount Plus. Now, when I heard this news, I immediately went to Fandango Voodoo. I purchased season 1 thinking I was getting the whole thing, but when I double checked it, it's only season 1.0, not season 1.5. So I have 10 episodes instead of 20. So episodes 11 through 20 will now no longer exist after June 30. And this was in a wake of other programs, I think, including the cancellation of the Pink Ladies on Grease, the Pink Ladies, and a few other programs that Paramount has done. And this is the what do you call it? The pare down that you see a lot of these streamers doing. Max has done it. Netflix has done it. Stuff going away. But this is the first thing that's hitting something that's super close to the mark for me, that it's Star Trek related. Because again, and we'll talk about this again on Code 47, which you may have already listened to because that comes out on Monday. But Paramount Plus, with I think reacquiring all of the Star Trek films recently became, and at least the last year, when it came to the television programs, they had everything. And that was their claim to fame. People are now shopping around that, home of all Star Trek episodes. Now they have an entire series that has just ceased to exist. So fans are in complete uproar. That's all I see on my Twitter feed. I'm seeing it all over socials. I'm really wondering what Paramount's going to do about that, because the backlash is so palpable. But
I can tell you what they're going to do, Charlie.
Absolutely nothing.
They have essentially written this off their books. They cannot do anything with it. It's done. They cannot make a sign off this. All they can do is saying the series, essentially, whoever made it can go off, like the production company can go off and do it. and sell it. But Paramount Plus does not have anything to do with this anymore, which makes it almost impossible then to make sure this stays anything canon. This essentially becomes non-Star Trek going forward because they just don't have the connection with it.
It just doesn't exist, right?
I mean, unless they bought it back, and I don't see them doing that move, especially they, and we're going to talk about this in another story, but I mean, this is sad and it's frustrating because this would tell you at this point, is anything safe?
Yeah,
and
very
we
much
always
so.
talk about like, we support creators. Well, this was a Nickelodeon show originally. Yeah. This obviously did not do what they wanted to do, which is basically go broader than just Star Trek base.
Right.
If it didn't do that, I don't know who else will pick this up. I'm like, if it didn't do well on Paramount Plus or Nickelodeon, I'm like, the Roku channel. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I just no, you're absolutely right, because people are out there still saying, well, now season 2 will be somewhere else. And I said, I don't have any guarantee that season 2 will be anywhere, and season 1 may just cease to exist. So I mean, people are out there saying, everyone is now sold out of the physical release of episodes 1 through 10. I'm just, like you said, it's a done deal, and it was done on the weekend, or it was done at the end of last week. Yeah. So, this is a big slap. So I will be, I'm certainly curious and horrified to see kind of where this will go next. So stay tuned. We will bring you news as we got it. But
I mean, and for fans who want to watch the things like say you're a Star Trek fan who's just coming to it and then wants to watch all things Star Trek, like a lot of people you've had on Code 47. How can they even watch this? And this is what I will say. If someone is not letting you buy the shit, then they obviously don't value you as a consumer and don't want your money. So then at that point, I'm like, if you find it in other ways, go to town, because they're essentially giving you the middle finger to say, we are going to take things away from you, and the fact that
you can't buy them. Yeah,
exactly. So it's like certain comic series we talked about, like Justice League versus Avengers. It's like you can't buy that anywhere. When they put it out and they put like 500 copies, I'm like, no, you're just taunting us.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's very special.
So it's the rare reason when I say, if you can find another way, I don't blame you. Find that guy in the back area of comic C2E2.
It fell off the truck, huh? Yeah. Exactly. Oh God. I mean, that's how I got my copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special. That's how I got my copy of Batman 66 before it got released. Yeah, because it just doesn't exist. So this is unfortunate. And it's coming at a time where everybody is reassessing profitability models. I'm sure the WGA strike doesn't help.
Yeah, the gold rush is over.
Yeah, the gold. Yeah, exactly. It's a bubble that's bursting. So think back to the bursting of the tech bubble in the early 2000s, the .com pop. So it will shake out in some fashion or another. I'd love to believe with the popularity of Star Trek, it'll come back, but we shall see. So, okay. So, shifting away from our burning hatred of Paramount Plus, which is the one that I always taunt, let's go over to Warner Brothers. What do they got? We're talking about tunes in this case. What do we got?
Yeah, it's weird. And it's just really taking us down this lens of nothing is forever. The whole streaming world and content is prime, but selling it at a premium value is probably something people are going to have to keep going back to versus saying everything's for free. Warner Brothers is reportedly going to sell half its story, music, and TV catalog for $500 million. So this is not just movie, it's TV too. So you think of shows like ER was a WB produced show. That could be in the mix. So Batman and Purple Rain, I mean, think about that. They've already removed original content to cut costs because the Discovery Plus to buy Warner Brothers and all that content, they went into a lot of debt to do so. And because of that, they're finding ways where they eliminate content, new shows that just released and they're gone now. This is the road they're going down. Zaslav, who runs Discovery Warner, who's been brought in to basically get measures under control. They're basically looking at negotiations sell less than half. I'm not sure why. It seems weird to split up your babies like that. Now, this could be a play for Sony to come in and swoop up some stuff because they are kind of acting independently, and this is they license their stuff to other people. Maybe this is a good play for them. But this is scary, Charlie, and this makes me feel, and I rarely say this, I am asking the Apple gods, Tim Apple, to come in and purchase all of Warner Brothers away from Discovery Plus. Apple has more money than God. They have a service that people respect for its quality, and they typically don't act badly. They're not in want. So and especially Warner Brothers makes so many cool things. And I think they would still continue to hire people and appreciate the content they have and the relationships they have with creatives. It just makes so much sense. And I would want this. I don't want anybody to get them. I don't want Amazon to get them, because Amazon's not a great company, and they could do the same thing once they start having many troubles. We've seen that where they start cutting things. So I really want this to happen, because if not, then once again, there's going to be no home for anything. It's going to be like, maybe we have this show one week and we have this album this week, and it's gone again. It's so crazy.
Todd, we're on our way back to DVDs and CDs. That's what it is, because it's the only way that you can have anything.
85 channels. It's going to be 85 channels again. Yeah, it's like, where do I get this? Oh, check your local listings.
We've gone through the whole spectrum, and we're right back to cable like it's the 1990s again. Oh my God! So as always, friends, stick with us. We'll bring you all the news. We'll bring you all the news that's fit to print.
Buy your media now before it's gone, folks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you got DVDs, sit on them. I have a box of DVDs still in my garage, because I know a couple of years ago I was at a flea market just selling boxes. I'm like, I don't need them. Everything's streaming, and now that box will stay in my garage forever.
I brought a Blu-ray player just to hey, does this Blu-ray player still work? It's been fitted away for some time. It kind of does.
Yeah. I do. I have a 4K, which is hooked up to my TV, and then I have the Blu-ray player that we use for shows, and I'm holding on to both of them like grim death. I'm glad I have my big binder of Star Trek shows that we can still show when we do events. So.
Charlie, and that's a shame you put away the Cardin archive from our college days of all those VHS recordings. Those could be worth something.
they're currently at the bottom of a landfill somewhere. Well, anyway, folks, that is the end of the news. So Todd, it is time to get out that Fuber app, that Feeble Uber app. And get us down to Scuggsville. Nasty Town is where we find the Geek Easy, where we're talking about what we're enjoying. So let's go.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover band's playing, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. We are in probably a weird phase, Charlie, where there is a lot of content coming out, so we better enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Because next year you will be rewatching all the stuff you skipped this year. But anyway, Todd, Strange New Worlds is ongoing. As you know, I've seen the first 6 episodes. I'm keeping my mouth shut about that. I actually need to plop down and rewatch both this episode and the first episode before I record Code 47 a little bit later on this afternoon. But we had a trial episode. It was the trial of number 1 Una Chin Riley, who at the end of last season was revealed to be part of a genetically engineered race, the Illyrians, which is, of course, forbidden in the Federation because of the dynasty of Khan Noonien Singh, who ironically is an ancestor of La'an Singh, who is one of our main characters. What a great episode. Now, Todd, you're up to date. You've seen both episodes. I mean, I can tell you this was a rock solid, awesome segment. And I can tell you moving forward through these first 6 episodes, plug, that the season 2 put season 1 to shame. So much great stuff going on here, but this was wonderful and so incredibly timely with his argument about rights across the board for, the very impassioned speech made by Una's friend, who Captain Pike begrudgingly gets her to represent Una because they'd had a falling out some years previously, but talking about, how rights are curtailed, had been curtailed throughout human history for, how you choose to identify, the color of your skin, where you lived, this thing and that thing, and this being the latest example. So not surprisingly, obviously things end up in the favor of Una. Sorry about the spoiler. And she obviously returns to the cast, but that's not a gigantic surprise. So Todd, your thoughts? I mean, I thought it was pretty flawless.
I enjoyed it, but it felt like a very rote court episode. I didn't feel there was anything original about their take on it, but it was a if you like court cases in Star Trek, this is one of 18 that they've done. I've got I saved a link to their previous one. So in regards to that, there was we had a couple of you need me on this wall kind of moments. We had finally the Vulcan kind of came out on a mission to get out and get after Pike because he's like, oh, it's a failure. There's conspiracy.
Right. And Pike's girlfriend, who very strangely goes back and forth from being the JAG lawyer to a ship captain. So that was kind of, why not? So this one, as you said, this one kind of runs a parallel between looking at the other Court episodes, season 2 of TNG, The Measure of a Man, which, if you listen to our 100th episode of Code 47, was our top-rated Star Trek episode of all time, of being, fighting for rights, and it's non-traditional, but it's discrimination, and it has to do with slave culture, which was what was echoed not only in that segment but in this one as well. So
I was going to say this did make me think of military and gays in the military, specifically Don't Ask, Don't Tell, being basically someone who can serve their whole career and then found out and just let go. So that kind of with me, that kind of it echoed. Now, the one thing I don't know if I agreed with is the outcome of the episode, which I don't want to give it away, but someone.
Well, I already did give it away. So, so it's too late.
I don't know how she's just allowed to then just go back into the. I mean, I understand not having any. That seems like you're not allowed, but we're now having you do this because it's like I don't know.
It's the magic of TV, babe. That's all there is to it.
I get it, and they want to have her back on, and then Spock gets to kind of fade in the background a little bit. Or two.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they got to give Spock some time because it's not yet it's not TOS yet. We've still got another potential 4 or 5 years.
It's not like that. Not like everybody can get promoted every year of their career every year. Which I'm like, she's going to run out of ranks to get promoted to.
I was going to say, if you the most meteoric rise was Geordi in TNG. He was a junior lieutenant when the show started, promoted to first lieutenant in season 2, and he was a lieutenant commander for the rest of the series starting in season 3.
Well, her last name, Noonien Singh.
Lon.
Lon. She's going to have to plateau eventually because, you're not going to be an admiral within 10 years. Sorry.
when it comes to ranking in Strange New Worlds, nobody has a corresponding uniform to the rank that they have. Like, everybody's lieutenant, but they have all their stripes are all wrong. So whatever, I give up. I totally give up on that portion of it. I choose to suspend my disbelief about that. Flair. So and it was back at the theaters this week after seeing The Flash last week, and we don't need to say a hell of a lot more about that. I had been seeing trailers for this film forever, and Todd, you're familiar with the work of Wes Anderson. We probably I remember his first film that I was aware of was The Royal Tenenbaums, which was in the early 2000s. That was with Paltrow. Oh, there you go. Oh, God, that was him. Yeah, that's right. And that was the first thing I saw Jason Schwartzman in. So, yeah, exactly. Who was the star of this film?
Election. It was the other one with he and Bill Murray. They were all going after the same teacher. Bill Murray was in it. What was that movie called?
That was Election, wasn't it? Anyway.
That was
usually Wes Anderson always cast Bill Murray. Bill Murray was not in this one. It was the first one. But he's at The Royal Tenenbaums and The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, which I didn't see. So anyway, like I said, they've been doing a decent job of promoting this. This was Asteroid City. And it's funny because it's a framing sequence of, and again, all ridiculous characters with ridiculous names. It's the framing sequence of a playwright who's played by Edward Norton writing this story. And then what you're essentially seeing is the play as if it were a film. So the bookended sequences are in black and white, and then the sequences of the play in production are in color. And although the set pieces of color definitely don't look very real, but this one, maybe more than his other films, maybe I'm mistaken, has a cast of 50 extremely well-known Class A actors, and included a scene of full frontal nudity of ScarJo that I missed because both April and I dozed off while we were watching this. So bad. I miss ScarJo naked. Oh my God.
That seems to be a weird diametric with the twee nature of the film.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was a lot of his regulars, Jason Schwartzman. This had to do with the 1950s, a hot spot in the desert where aliens land, And that's exactly what happened here. And don't want to spoil a ton of the film because it's really fun. The alien, who was basically an animated character within the color portion that you saw as the play, but backstage the play when it was black and white, the alien with his mask off was Jeff Goldblum, which was great.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. So, Todd, if you're looking for a silly time, I would plug this one. It's fun. It's fun. I would go see it.
I really need to watch all of his movies because I've enjoyed them so much. By the way, the movie that we were talking about earlier was Rushmore.
Thank you. That. Oh, there you go. There you go.
But they did Bottle Rocket was his first film. I remember when Bottle Rocket was debuted because it was the Owen and
the Wilson brothers. Yeah, yes. Owen and Luke and Owen. Yeah.
I remember when they showed it on MTV and like, this is a creator you got to watch. And I remember that back in the day, and it was MTV Movie Awards. I'm like, oh, okay. And I mean, his track record is awesome. And you know what? He even mixes in animation. He does the Isle of Dogs, Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is just a clever, fun film. So I don't think if you're looking for him to do something weird and different, he's going to do weird, but he's going to do weird in that kind of hyper stylized lens, which I like.
Very much so. So I'd recommend it. Surprisingly, the theater was very full. And that April, I ended up in the second row, which is no big deal when you have recliners. But the front row of this, I was talking about a couple weeks ago, we saw a movie that there were two people laughing their asses off drinking light beer. There was a cavalcade of 20-somethings laughing their ass off at stuff that was marginally humorous, but I think without a doubt narcotics were involved. So I just had a feeling, oh my gosh. But anyway, this one was fun. I would recommend going and seeing it if you are hip to, again, his kind of quirky and hyper stylized vibe. So and the weird music and just the weird people in general and people not talking like people could have been a George.
It's like a stylized world where I think we all would love to live in because we'd have comfortable sweaters, we'd have charming conversations.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly correct. So, okay, cool. All right. Well, let's move on to something we both watched, but I'll let you take the lead on this one because I'm curious where you landed because I'm curious where you landed.
So, Secret Invasion is the most recent Marvel Cinematic Universe show on Disney Plus, and quite honestly, I'm trying to remember, was it She-Hulk?
Yes.
Was the last one prior to this?
I believe so. Yeah, and that was in
and then Werewolf by Night, and then the holiday special.
Yeah. Well, those were both last year. Wasn't She-Hulk in the first part of this year?
No,
it was not. It was a year ago. It was last fall. Yeah, you're right.
And it's been 6 months. So
over 6 months, I
think Loki season 2 was supposed to be earlier, but we know what's going on with that.
Exactly.
But we are getting the show Secret Invasion. This is a hybrid take on the Secret Invasion storyline from Marvel Comics, where the Skrulls were basically invading, taking over superheroes, and there was a Skrull Queen involved. And it was there was a couple of, I would say, the premier Marvel events in the early 2000s that were like, wow, Marvel is doing something differently. It was Disassembled, I think, was the first real one. And then Secret Invasion was the one that really like, oh, wow, who can you trust? And then I would say, then we got Winter Soldier. So I think there was a time like a golden age of modern Marvel. That's a lot to say. It was fantastic. And this is taking that storyline, but intermingling it as a follow-up to 30 years later than Miss Marvel. So essentially we find out Nick Fury has actually been away with Talos. They're looking for a homeworld for the Skrulls. And unfortunately, folks, that did not go well. They have not found a homeworld. And because of that, the Skrulls who are on Earth
taking it back
are unhappy. And they are essentially going to create havoc. And there's a group of Skrulls that are essentially looking to take over the Earth, including Talos's daughter, and then the former friend of Nick Fury, and his name was... Remember off the top of your head, Charlie? The leader of the Skrulls at this point.
His buddy is Talos, who's
Talos has now been removed from the board of Skrulls. Now
board
there's
a board of directors.
Board of Skrulls. Yeah, exactly. It was it's a corporation. The Skrull Incorporated. You could have somebody right. So essentially, there's now a new leader who is basically inflaming his followers. They're holed up in a former nuclear reactor in Russia because no one can see them, and the Skrulls apparently are immune to radiation. That's kind of where we're at. Nick Fury comes back. He looks a little defeated. we do run into Olivia Colman, who's running I'm assuming it's the British equivalent of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a name for it, MI6. I guess it's really MI6 in this.
I'm drawing a blank, but yeah, her character is a Falsworth, who is a spinoff from that British like Union Jack and Spitfire and kind of some of the World War II stuff that you saw.
Yeah, there was a British agency that Pete Wisdom was part of, that Captain Britain was part of, I believe, at one time. Yeah, I can't remember their name, but but the leader is, I'm looking for his name. His name is Gravik. So he is Kingsley Ben-Adir. He plays Gravik. And essentially he's leading them. And we get this big episode, Charlie. I'll put spoilers out there. So folks who have not caught up with this and are want to cover that, but spoilers aware, things go awry and we get a death that doesn't turn into a Skrull. Which is
an actual
so,
dead heritage character. Yes.
Did that surprise you?
I would say so. Yeah. Because again, this kicked off with Martin Freeman as Agent Ross, who we've seen in the last, several films, including Winter Soldier, Civil War, and then the Black Panther movies, as being chased down by Maria Hill, and then eventually falling to his death, and then reverting to a Skrullism. So, I don't know. I was not blown away by this. I'll be honest with you. I'm not hyper engaged with this so far, but it's one episode. You know what I mean? My favorite, and again, this, I know that you and I vastly disagree on this. My favorite, just because my love of the source material, has been Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So it is much more, which is much more grassroots. It's kind of ground down, and this is much more grassroots because the only sci-fi-ish comic thing you've got is the Skrulls themselves, who aren't all running around being Skrulls. This is not really rooted in the source material, Secret Invasion, which had to do with a ship lands in the Savage Land and the door cracks open, and you see a bunch of characters that come pouring out that look like the 1970s versions of themselves. You found out that Mockingbird is still alive. And we thought she was dead. You find out that Alicia Masters is still alive, not the one that married Johnny Storm. I think that was then, or she was a Skrull at some point. And it was this very big, hey, we've been working on taking over. I haven't read that in a very long time, but we're working on taking over because we've infiltrated over this long period of time. So this is taking the heart of that idea and turning it into something much more Mission Impossible, John Wickish, and so I haven't made my mind up yet. So what about you?
Yeah, this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. done via Disney. Higher values, seems like it's focused. It's a little more tight versus being a show that has to be around. It's like that was old school, kind of a held. This feels like a modern version of S.H.I.E.L.D. The one episode was not enough in this instance. I mean, they sold the plot, but a lot of people are feeling the same way as you did. And I kind of feel like I felt lukewarm. There was. Okay, what's next? Okay, they're going to do their plot. I felt like this is a lot like Falcon Winter Soldier, same thing there. I felt like that plot was kind of boring too. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we're getting it. If it wasn't for the Bucky and Falcon and their relationship, that show would have felt flat too. So, but this, and so we don't have any superheroes. So that's, I feel, a big miss because of Secret Invasion. That was a big part of it. It's if a hero becomes a villain, that's problematic too, because then you're giving them all your plans and they're powerful. But also, Sam Jackson can't be an action agent. He can't. Every time he does something, I feel like he's in slow motion. It doesn't work.
It's like Harrison Ford. Which is why I'm so scared about, the indie movie that we're going to see next week, because, he's 80 and Sam Jackson is in his mid 70s, whatever it is. So, he's not going to be, it's not going to be John Wick. He's not going to be jumping around and, or it's going to be his stunt double every time, or they're going to slap his face on there like Christopher Lee in episode 2. You know what I mean? So, it's tough to have such an aged star, trying to lead an action series. It was the same reason why it was funny, because it was my mother who said it when Jack Reacher, not the current incarnation with Alan Richardson, which is on Amazon or wherever the hell it is, but the film version with Tom Cruise, which was 10 years ago, my mom said, how are they taking him and trying to, lead him as a vehicle? He's middle-aged. This is not really a role for a middle-aged person. And it kind of takes us right back to this, I think. So they need something else where, likening it back to Falcon and Winter Soldier, those are both, youngish guys. They're in their 30s, or they appear to be. And you see Sam Wilson flipping around and catching the shield and stuff. And maybe that's not really him, but you could believe that his stunt double makes it believable. He's not an old guy. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's that sense of believability is lacking because Nick Fury doesn't have superpowers. He's just a dude. He's a super spy, but he's just still a dude.
And we have Talos, obviously, Ben Mendelsohn, but they're not. He's going to be not looking like a Skrull most of this time. So it's once again, He's going to look like a normal guy, not that great of a fighter, kind of okay. So,
but he has superpower, super strength, and stuff.
Exactly. So, yeah. And there was something saying that basically Nick Fury. We haven't heard much about his family, but they are saying that Gravik, he's using the face of Sam Jackson's or Nick Fury's son, who is no longer with us. So that's kind of a distraction technique, from what I understand. So yeah, I don't know how long. I think maybe 6 episodes.
Yeah, I think so. I looked it up.
This is not going to help Disney look at Marvel like, oh, people are so engaged. I think people are disengaged now, which is a shame because the show could be great, but I feel like a lot of people are not going to come back for it after this episode, which is a shame.
Yeah, exactly correct. So, anyway, we will find out. This airs Wednesdays on Disney Plus. So, add us over on Twitter. Yeah, add us over on Twitter.
Watch something.
Yeah, and let us know what you think there, or certainly on our Secret Friends United Discord. Would love to hear from you. So, all right, what's this other thing you got going on?
Yeah, this one is a surprise. I had heard so much rumbling, and I normally don't buy new comics, but this one has been out there like, this is fantastic. You have to read it. I'm like, okay. It's called Void Rivals, and this is on Image. And what makes it exciting, it's a new Robert Kirkman book. He's writing this. So I'm like, he is whether you love the Walking Dead TV series, I love Invincible, and I loved his work on the Walking Dead comic book. So I think with him, he's just got a way of writing, and the way he builds worlds and everything is very exciting. So the pitch of Void Rivals is war rages around the Sacred Ring, where the last remnants of two worlds have collapsed around a black hole in a never-ending war over when pilot Derek and his rival Solia both crash on a desolate planet. These two entities must find a way to escape together. But are they alone on this strange planet? What secrets have the world leaders been concealing from their populations? And what dark forces await that threaten the entire universe? Great book. Really enjoyed it. It reminded me of Enemy Mine in a lot of ways, Charlie.
I love that film.
Rivals. Yeah. And it's a short book. It's one issue. So it's like they've got to sell this premise very quickly because they have so little to do it with. And they did. And there is a twist in this, which if it wasn't Kirkman involved, I'd be like, I've been down this road before. This is going to just go south very, very quickly. And I can spoil the twist if you are okay with that, because I don't see you. I mean, you could borrow this book from me. I bought it on digitally. But
I mean, you know what? I'll tell you what. Why don't you just leave it? Because if somebody's listening to this and they're like, "No, I like Todd's choices," maybe they'll check it out, and maybe then again they'll add us on social media and let us know what they think. That'd be fine by me.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll leave it there. I like this, and I'm very excited where this goes. Issue 1 just came out a couple weeks ago. Issue 2 will be out mid-July. So you're right at the entry point. So if you've been looking for a book to get involved in and you're kind of excited about this, look for it there. Robert Kirkman, he typically lands it.
I love it. Well, cool. Well, friends, that is the end of the Geek Easy. Time to skip out on that check because we got spit in blah, 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 into our drinks, and got to get at the Air Qantas app. It's time to get down to the land down under. Hologram Tina and the mutants are waiting for us to talk about kind of a new game this week. Let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week we're doing something old, but with a new twist, and that is Todd Show. We played this before, where basically we pick a title of a movie, a TV series that we don't know anything about, but then based on the title alone, we have to come up with our own plot, premise, actors, whatever you would like. And this week I said, you know what, Charlie, I am very familiar with the world of anime because my son watched a lot of it. I've watched from the past. And I always joke that these titles are just insane. Sometimes they're just like, it's the plot summary as the title, which is just, it's like, okay. And some of these are good. Some of these aren't. but there are definitely something. Once again, these are Japanese, so the translation in itself, if they were playing around with it, we will never know. So we're each of us. I gave Charlie. I put 3 links to different lists of the most craziest anime titles of all time. Charlie picked from one list. I picked the other, and we're just picking it from the title, nothing else. And there we go. So Charlie, do you want me to give you my pick and you tell me, or do you want me to?
I will go
elaborate?
first. I love to pioneer, so I'll give you a title, and then you just give me your rundown. So okay, you just ready to freestyle this shit. Okay, my title is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Engage.
Okay. So, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? So, this could go so many different ways. Okay. This is going to be a horror film. This is going to be about a very, I guess, distressed teenager. He's struggled in life trying to find girls, and he's never been what I would call the hero in life. But he is a horror film and subject matter expert. He knows everything.
Yes.
Think of Jamie Kennedy in Scream 1. Knows all the tropes and everything. He is then going on a haunted horror weekend. Basically, it's the premise like, you'll be trapped. It's like an escape room that he's joined. It's at a famous place where people were killed by a serial killer. Awesome. And he shows up by himself because he doesn't really have, his friends don't want to go with him. He's like, are you crazy? I'm not into this stuff. Yeah, right. He is then joined by several other aficionado groups that come, but then we've got a couple other groups that are just there to be scared, don't know anything about it, kind of the mocking Gen Z's, TikTok folks who want to just do TikTok videos, say, look at me, I'm scared, make money. Well, Charlie, there's a plot twist. This is actually a ploy, like a Hostel, where actually the murder was never caught, the serial killer. And he designs, just like Jigsaw, a series of traps to catch these people. But our hero, they're trapped in a dungeon, a death dungeon, you say.
Death dungeon,
in MacArthur prison for the emotionally insane. I know that's wrong, but we'll leave it there. In our hero, his name is Brooker, because why not? Why not? You have a cool name, because that's not a real name, but it sounds cool.
It's the babbling Brooker.
Exactly. So he steps up to the plate. And he is able to lead them through all of these death traps because he knows the serial killer's methods and methodology. And along the way, he starts seeing all of these girls perk up to him. But he's conflicted because he has to stay focused to save them. But along the way, he's like, wow, they really like me. They really like me. So he's conflicted. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? That's the premise. I won't tell you more than that. That's just the premise to get you in. I'm sure this pitch will go, and it'll go to our this is just a pitch. I haven't written anything. I haven't broken any WGA tenets. Right. It's just a pitch. It's not written. There's no dialogue. Yes.
Pitches are legal.
So
legal
once we're selling again, and we're selling pitches and Hollywood's there, and we have writers.
Right.
I've copyrighted this and we'll be selling it.
It is. You've copyrighted off something that has a name that already exists. Why not? It's a cover. It's a cover like the Beatles covering the Stones, or vice versa. There you go.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Loved it. Quality stuff. Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with something. So
I did not intend this to have similar picks to yours, but I don't know. You'll have to judge by the title. My title is, and I'll go through this slowly because it's a long one. If I don't successfully pick up 420 girls, I'm going to die in a lot of different ways.
Wow. Okay. So this.
Do you want me to repeat that again?
No. I got it.
Okay.
So this definitely, and maybe I won't pontificate quite as much as you did, but I'll do the best as I can. So this is a romantic comedy, without a doubt, along the vein of the Scott Pilgrim versus the World. We have a divorcee, and you know what? He got married young, didn't work out. She, was running around on him. So here's a guy who's very down on love. But he's got a best buddy. Let's say it's played by maybe Kevin Hart, maybe it's Jack Black. I don't know. Who's like, you've got to get back in the saddle. So you've got to come to one of these speed dating things with me. And he's like, okay, I guess, I'm unlucky in love. I mean, look what happened to me, but you know what? It's been a year, maybe it's been 2 years. I've got to get back in the saddle. So he and Jack Black and a collection of other, stereotypical friends, go to, think of the speed dating round in the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Okay, so it's kind of like that. But instead of that, they walk in and I'm sorry, what was the number again? 420. There are 420 women and these 5 guys. And the 5 guys walk in there and the lights go out and doors slam down. And you're like, this is a romantic comedy. Why is this happening? And you know what it is? It's the Squid Game. So they boom, this big, and I haven't seen the Squid Game, so I'm kind of freestyling off of what I've heard about it. But if these 5 guys, and in particular our hero, let's say his name is Chansome Manly Skin, has to find love by speaking to each one of these women, but he has 45 seconds to speak. And of course, they're not going to show all of them. This movie would be days long, but we're going to see clips. It's going to be inferred that if he doesn't evaluate within these if he doesn't get through a conversation with each one of these women within 45 seconds, there will be a physical penalty either applied to him or one of his 5 friends. So their real challenge is, can they get out alive by executing upon the mission? And by executing upon the mission, will he find true love? You can only know by watching it.
Ooh, I could see there could be like plants where it's like, she's so attractive, I can't stop talking, and then you go over like 46 seconds. Ooh.
Yeah. And then, then the axe comes down and lands in the middle of your friend's forehead.
I like that, Charlie. Ooh. I like it. I like that kind of mixing genres. I like it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I get it in my head. I can see it play out.
Right. And again, unless you've heard me describe it, this pitch. So, if you saw, you would be gobsmacked. You just would not know what to do. It would be such a surprise. That's what I got.
Very, very good. Well, folks, hopefully you enjoyed that. Just as a speed run, we're just doing 2 for this week. So hopefully you enjoyed those. If you've seen these things and you're like, did we nail it? I don't know. We don't know because we didn't watch these or get into this. Yes.
I would love to hear about it, and I vote to add this into our grid of ongoing games. So somewhere 3 months down the road or longer, we may revisit this again. So hang on to your.
And there's only going to be more of these, Charlie. They're going to keep making more and more of these.
How many animes come out every year? Like 500. I mean,
did they just the manga titles are exactly the same too. They get crazier and crazier. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Well, that's about it for us. So thank you again to our to all of our listeners, but certainly to our wonderful Patreons. We could not do what we do without you. And if you're interested in seeing what all the hubbub is about, do go over to patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Choose a tier level and listen to us for 7 calendar days and see if you like our stuff, because we want to hear from you. So with that, Todd, where do people find you out there?
At T Oxtra. It's kind of a quiet time for everything. No sports really going on. Video games are crazy. That's really what I'm playing a lot of these days. So I'm talking about that. And it's been hot. So just trying to stay cool. So follow me for my hints and tips on staying cool in the winter.
Oh my!
Summer
or the summer or whatever season it happens to be. Well, you can find me over on Twitter at the C3. Spell it out. I seem to be a hit right now talking about hashtag Save Star Trek Prodigy. I did just shared a meme that has been reshared over 200 times. So there you go. There's my minutes. There's my 15 minutes of digital fame. My wife April and I do run the USS Grand Petoskey. That is one of the biggest chapters of Starfleet, the International Star Trek Fan Club in the world. I also do head up Region 13, which is Michigan and Eastern Canada. I would be very happy to connect you with Trek fans in your neck of the woods. Find us at ussgrandpetoskey.com and across socials. Drop us a line, and we will see what we can do to Trek you out. Todd and friends, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Craven has to talk like this, not like, hey guys, what's going on?
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.